We are back, guys. After those 60 or 70 banelings just took down Flash, we are going into our next game, and we might not have the most interesting math equations here at the GSL, but we definitely have the most interesting StarCraft 2 matches.
That's certainly true. Listen, if you asked me to solve for X, X being who's going to get out of this group, man, I definitely couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I believe that. Here you have the standings. We have YoDa with 2 wins, and on the other hand, Yonghwa with 2 losses. Everyone else is on 1 win and 1 loss. MC, Flash, Vampire, and Jaedong.
Yeah. And when you ever have a 6-person group like we have right now, the third set of 3 matches is kind of where things start to solidify. People start to get their position in the group, start kind of a little bit more figured out.
Yeah.
Whereas this right now, yeah, YoDa is ahead, but because so many people have so many more matches to play, that could turn around in a second.
In a 6-player group, even if you have 3 wins, it usually doesn't guarantee you a slot in Code S. You will have a very good chance, but still, there's no guarantee. With a match series that we have right now being the wildcard spot on the 3rd place, it's a little bit different though. And YoDa has to face Yonghwa now. Sorry, that's of course not true. YoDa has to face the Vampire. So if YoDa is able to take a win, then he would be on a 3-0 and is at least in a position where he get himself a spot in the wildcard group next Friday.
By the way, the map is Belshir Vestige, a map that, unfortunately for Vampire, similarly to the map that we saw just previously with YoDa, is a tough map for late game pro. It's hard to take a 3rd base against Terran pressure at the 3rd. If you just walk over there and attack with Marines and Marauders, it's really, really difficult. So we could see another unique timing attack from Vampire that he's prepared. But after watching YoDa demolish MC's Blink Stalker play, Vampire, if he has some sort of push plan, he's probably taken a little bit of a second look at it, maybe having second thoughts right now.
YoDa played a very solid game against MC, that's definitely true. The map was a bit in his favor with it being a digital city, but definitely a very solid performance by the LGIM Terran player. He's up against Vampire now on Belshir Vestige, and we'll find out who's going to take this game if YoDa gets the 3-0 in the group. This is Belshir Vestige and a Terran versus Protoss with YoDa up against Vampire. Our Terran player starts to the top left of Belshir Vestige, starting in red, and it is, of course,
LGIM YoDa.
YoDa, leader of the group so far, might actually take a big lead against this one.
At the bottom right is his opponent, Protoss player in blue. It is
MVP Vampire.
One run right now.
Now, right now, I want to mention something. If you don't have a premium ticket, first of all, why did you miss out on those awesome deals that we had? What's wrong? You missed the memo. Maybe you didn't read the internet for a little while. Maybe you were trying to study for your exams, but you have another opportunity to just do yourself a favor and buy it right now at the beginning of the year and enjoy the entire year of StarCraft 2 we've got coming up. I recommend it.
There was actually a thread on Reddit today where a lot of people talked about it being in their 2nd year with having a premium ticket, and they didn't regret it for a single second. It's probably still on the 1st page, so if you want to read about a few people who share their experiences, then you can definitely do it. It's definitely worth every single cent, so a premium ticket right now at the beginning of the year is definitely what you want to go for. GSL has so much content, and this is definitely the highest level of play in StarCraft 2 in the entire world. There's nothing else that comes close, and this, I'm sorry, Budo fans, includes, as for now, still Pro League.
Yes, that's very true. That's actually just a true statement that people, if they disagree, are actually just, they need to take a step back and be like, wait a minute, actually, I think Keller's right.
That will equalize at some point. They will level out again, but right now it's still true.
It's still true?
The year is long though, and a lot of things will change. Right now we have YoDa against Vampire, and YoDa surprised a lot of people in the last season when he was not only able to get into Code S, but at the same time he performed so well. But then he fell off grace a bit. He dropped down into Code A, lost immediately to Bung Bung with a 2-1, and now he faces Vampire in the up and down. It's a Protoss player that we have seen over and over again. Struggles a little bit against Zerg sometimes, but he only has to face one today. He only has to face Jaedong. He's up against a lot of Protoss players, and of course also those 2 Terrans, Yonghwa being one of them.
Yeah.
And so far, today we had Vampire with a win over Yonghwa, but he lost to Flash. He lost to the first Terran player that he faced. So will he now be able to take down YoDa, who has played so awesome today that he was able to take down 2 players and is now leading the group with a 2-0.
You know, I talked to you about this briefly before the match. I thought YoDa might actually have a breakout here. This could be his group. And so far he's up 2-0, but I mean, the maps he's gotten are really fortunate so far. 2 in a row against 2 different processes like this that are great for Terran. This time he's going for a slightly riskier build. He's going for the 1 racks into expand with no gas. Now takes his refineries after he adds his barracks, but his command center even is on the high ground. He's not cutting any corners. Nice micro on that Zealot. Almost killing it there, only taking 1 shot from the Stalker. Well worth it.
Currently we have the Robo started for Vampire and YoDa with his own expansion, but he already has the bunker at the front, and the Stalker, as Wolf mentioned, tries to get a few shots off here. Lost the shields, nothing else. Nexus is nearly completed at the bottom left. Sorry, at the bottom right, of course, for Vampire. And I'm really curious to see what exactly Vampire is going to do. He has the expansion up. Is he going to... Oh, wow, the SCV actually able to get into the main base. That's a big deal.
Yeah, he actually is going to be able to see everything. This seems to be something that YoDa has consistently been able to do in his Terran vs. Protoss.
Vampire is looking against his units and is like, Stalker, you had 1 job. 1 job! And you can't even kill an SCV before it gets into my main base and scouts my robo and my entire builds, starts my gas timings and everything. Thank you very much. You're dismissed.
YoDa's the real Stalker, man. Always camping out outside people's houses, going inside, seeing what they've got. He's a little bit creepy. I would definitely keep 2 Stalkers at watch there, man. I would not be poking with my Zealot at the front, losing it to the Marines in the bunker, man. I'd have everything at home, not letting anybody see. But, you know, at this point, this game is developed quite normally. Even though the SCV saw everything, this is not a all-in strategy like we saw from MC.
Yeah, the thing is, though, YoDa always sneaks the unit in somehow.
Yeah.
In all of the games so far.
Must be a Jedi mind trick.
Yeah. And if anyone can pull all those, then it's YoDa.
Certainly, he's one of the oldest masters out there.
I have to say that the 3 Star Wars videos that were released afterwards kind of ruined the character a little bit for me. Every single time I think about YoDa, I see him jumping up and down like a bunny on crack with his lightsaber.
Oh, you just gotta remember when he fades away and dies. You gotta remember him taking Luke's dinner and talking to him, you know, in a very stern way, like a crazy old man would talk to somebody who wants to learn and gain power. But
YoDa is actually a Korean RGG.
He actually
he could be.
He could be. He could be. If he were Korean, well, except he's more of a grandfather style. He's a little bit older than Achi. He's crossed the next level.
Still 4 harvesters in the refinery for YoDa here, so he didn't catch up on that mistake just yet. It was highlighted on screen for you guys again by Legend. Quick shout out to him as well, being an amazing observer as usual.
As usual, and look at this! He almost saw the Twilight Council.
Yeah, it was really close, but he didn't catch it just yet. So the Twilight Council wasn't revealed. He doesn't know about it. Blink is being researched. Also the Forge, not in vision range. Doesn't know about the +1 armor upgrade that has been started.
Yeah, he doesn't know. The probe count is still fairly conservative considering how this game has opened up. He's making Immortals right now. He's going up to 2. It looks like he's probably going to stop at 2 and go into Robotic Support Bay. The second Immortal is always a tough choice to make, because if you make that second Immortal, that's kind of like saying, well, I want to be really safe here, but if you don't attack me, this Immortal is going to become like 4 times as useless every 2 minutes that pass by in the game, because Immortals just are not useful at all in late game for their cost.
Pre-steaming one of the Marines to get access to the Zalnaga Watchtower and not running into any kind of trap here. Templar Archive also being started, not gonna waste any time with going into a Colossus composition.
Yeah, he's totally skipping it, he's totally cutting it out, but at the same time he adds a 3rd Immortal.
You know, he's not even showing 1 Colossus, which is what we talked about earlier when we had Flash against Vampire. That you sometimes go just for 1 Colossus, you show it to your opponent, you try to make him overcommit to Vikings, and then you go immediately into the Templar Archive and Storm. He's completely skipping out the Robo Bay, going straight into the Templar attack. This is a little bit how Parting used to play this, only with the Robo, but he produced a lot more observers, and you can't really play the style that he popularized for a long time anymore. Terran players caught up on that quite quickly. But yeah, the Immortals are being Vampire's weapon of choice here against the composition to give him some time to go into Storm.
Yeah. By the way, YoDa barely got his armory started before that factory died. That was a close call. If anyone out there plays Terran as I do, you know there's that moment where your factory dies right before your armory finishes because you went for a really fast scout and you actually want to kill somebody when that happens. Luckily there will be no deaths here. A big attack by YoDa, but he just doesn't have enough. I mean, it's a...
Oh, wow.
He's using it actually as a complete distraction. The probes are pulled.
Look where the army is for Vampire. It's all the way to the bottom left. He has to warp a couple of units and he's losing his Nexus.
This is exactly why this is such a tough map for Cross to take a third on, because everything is so far apart from each other. Imagine the situation on Cloud King. He probably would have been able to save that Nexus. Great pickup by YoDa. Puts the more exposed medevac with less units inside.
That was one of the best drops that I have seen in quite a while. We had the entire army for Vampire at the bottom left of the map. He tries to warp in units. He was still in cooldown with a few of his warp gates, and he had no chance to get the units back to save the Nexus. Really well done by YoDa. Goes in, snipes the Nexus, and gets out without losing too much. Now he also saw what was up. He goes straight into the Ghost Academy. This is things going really well for YoDa, and once again, him proving how stable he plays today, and that he is one of the top contenders in this group.
Yeah, really nice fake little attack there. And if for example, Vampire responds perfectly, he picks up the drop and just attacks at the third base and runs away with that as well. Really nicely done. It's a tough map for Protoss, but he's trying to make this work. He's trying to go for Storm. The thing is, he's so delayed and so distracted by these attacks, he can't even quite defend his main base with the Zealots he's got there. This Marine Force draws him away from his third, and YoDa is just trading well over and over again. The Storm is going to be a problem for him, but he's already got Ghosts ready. He's going to start them very soon. He's adding additional barracks.
Storm is nearly done, +1 attack is nearly done. We have +2 now for YoDa. He also is going into the Möbius reactor. Doesn't have any ghosts on the tap just yet, but he will start them very soon. And then he will have the energy for a few EMPs with the additional upgrade. But the army supply currently is still very similar. YoDa takes a slight lead with 84 to 77. And now also on 3 bases, the gas is finally available for Vampire to add the Robotics Bay and to add Colossi in addition to those High Templars with Storm.
Something I'm a little bit just curious about is YoDa not starting his +2 armor is something he's skipped out on. He wants to get the gas out for the Ghost, but he has enough to where he could have just cut one Ghost out of the picture to get that armor upgrade instead.
He's dropping again, and this time he will face a few Zealots that Vampire left behind for this occasion.
Yeah, and this is him hoping he can find his opponent out of position, because he's got that army that's roaming the map right now, but he's not actually preparing to go for an attack third. He's gonna, well, this is just one unit there, a little bit late on that pickup.
To the left side of the map, there is actually a fight about to happen as a few Zealots charge in and try to close the distance to the... Oh, that feedback would take down the medevac so far.
I was so excited about that feedback, I thought maybe because he's got so much energy on the medevac, he's, oh wow, so careful, but nope.
He shouldn't have turned around. He didn't see it. He saw it too late.
You know, he said no Marine left behind. He was like, well, if the Marine's gonna take out that Templar to save us, I gotta pick up the Marine.
Sorry, Wolf, this is not Ohana.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. You actually read my mind on that.
I got your back.
I've been missing Ohana really, really badly.
That family feeling.
That family feeling you get when you watch a game on that map. It's just, it's not the same feeling I get when I watch the vestige of disparity here between these races on this map.
Extended Thermal Lance now started, the second Forge coming in for Vampire, but YoDa has a huge supply lead in the game in total. He's on 3 bases, getting now his 4th command center, +3 attacks started, +2 armor, a little bit later than we would have expected it. We've talked about it already, but it's there on the tap, and this will give him a huge upgrade advantage over Vampire later on.
Oh, and those EMPs were pretty good.
They
Remember, these Immortals, he's got a ton of them, but they're just not too useful in a fight, especially when they're EMP'd like that. They just can't do damage fast enough. They do a ton of burst damage, but with the healing power of the medevacs, they can't quite finish units off most of the time.
And here comes the drop at the 3rd base. He's dropping him in, and currently there is just nothing that can help him. There's an engagement in the middle of the map as well. Vampire is distracted. He has to fight at 2 fronts, the bottom left, and now in the main fight we have so many EMPs, and they are awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome. Only one Storm goes off. The Concave here is good for YoDa. That one Colossus is not enough. and it looks like the Templar is going to help clean up the drop in the third, but the bigger problem, of course, is the main army, which is chasing down and killing those Immortals, which at this stage of the game, at the 17.5-minute mark, are just not useful, not in the slightest.
What an incredible performance here by YoDa. These EMPs hit everything. No shields for the Protoss army, no energy, and there is the inedible GG.
And YoDa now 3-0 on top of the world in one of our toughest up and down groups. Who would have thought, man?
What a crazy group, and YoDa, he's making it happen against Vampire now as well. Really well played. Vampire in a bit of trouble here. Only 1 win and 2 losses, but YoDa, he is on fire. This guy is on a roll.
He is.
Let me just check his next opponent. He's up against Jaedong later. We have 2 more games. We have Yonghwa versus Jaedong now. Then we have MC versus Flash. That's also going to be a really good one. And then YoDa versus Jaedong. And if YoDa takes it, then he's out of the group. He is in Code S.
He's looking really strong so far. And I got to say, I wouldn't have expected him to look this good. I thought maybe this is his group. He's got a very solid style, very defensive style. I feel like he doesn't have any real glaring weaknesses. He's just an all-around good player. And against the playstyles of the players he's facing here, I think he could go to the late game. He's been a defender really in these series that he's played so far.
The thing is that right now we have a situation where YoDa is kind of dominating the group, and going into this up and down group, into Group A, we talked a lot about the players that we have here with Jaedong, with Flash, with Yonghwa, Protoss player, who we all expect to just be able to power through at some point, especially with the performance that we've seen in the GSTL. But in the individual league, for some reason, he could just not gank it for, it was just a little bit too tough for him. Every single time it falls off, he's not out of it just yet, but he is definitely now in a spot where he desperately needs a couple of wins. Then you have contenders like MC also doing, well, so-so, being on 1-1 now. But YoDa really impressing here, and now it's up to the rest of the players to shut him down a little bit, or to make sure that he's not getting too lonely at the top of the group.
That's true. You know, if you look even a little bit further forward than what we're looking at right now for just the group, whether you get into Code S, on the opposite side of the coin, when you fall into Code A, you don't get into the second round of Code A or anything weird like that with this up and down format. You actually just go right to the first round, and if you're there, you might actually be out of this entire tournament and have to qualify. So if you're a fan watching these players play, not only do you want your player to be in Code S, the best league for them to be in, but if they fall into Code A, there's a chance, depending on who else they may hit, which based on who we already have in Code A and who could fall out of these other groups, could be 2 awesome players, and one of your favorite players might be out of this entire tournament and have to requalify.
It's one of the situations that we had so many times when you just look at the first round of Code A and you see 2 amazing players and you want both of them to advance, but there is only room for one. And now we have the next game in the group though. So the situation in Code A, if these players drop down and don't get a Code SC today, might be a very, well, unfortunate one, depending on who they have to face in the first round. But now we're focusing a little bit more on the up and down group at hand, and the next game is going to be Jaedong against Yonghwa.
This is going to be a pretty exciting one, I feel. Jaedong hasn't had the best time in this group so far, but he does take the 1-1 score. And this is a chance for him to put himself on a positive indicator here if he can take out Yonghwa. Yonghwa needs this win as well, though.
Well, Jaedong was able to stop Flash. He literally killed God. Flash was on a 5-win streak, and then Jaedong happened. The Tyrant said, no, I don't care. You're going down, and you're going down right now, and he made it happen. So now he's on 1-1. He lost earlier to MC. He could have won it, though. There was a lot of arguments on the internet as well, in the forums, and people said he kind of threw it away a little bit. He should have won it. He wasn't in a good position. Should have played a little bit more passive, but MC just stomped over his defense, took the win. Jaedong finds himself at a 1-1, but so does Yonghwa. Yep. So now one of them will go ahead a bit. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, exactly. Yonghwa really needs this win. The map is a tough map for Protoss versus Zerg. It can be done. This is the map we've seen Immortal pushes on so many times because that third base is tough. It's a really good map to do that push on. It is Abyssal City. Jaedong with the map in his favor. What's his plan going to be? Will he take the lead here in this up and down group? I am Wolf. With me is Kaldor, and let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into the game.